Fresh killer.
What up, tribe? I wanted to talk to y'all about the Coach Prime situation. That is, Coach Deion Sanders has elected to leave Jackson State University in HBCU for wider pastures in Boulder, Colorado at the University of Colorado. Now, my goodness, the internet, this is the latest thing that Black Twitter has been in an uproar about. And I feel like, listen, all right, let me break down my opinions on the situation. I do think that Coach Deion Sanders has the right to go wherever he wants to, okay? It's totally up to him. He's not obligated to stay at Jackson State University. And then there's so much that we don't know. We don't know what did Jackson State do or not do to actually keep him. Did they try to compete? Did they do whatever they could to make him feel comfortable? We don't know what happens behind. We don't know what was happening behind the scenes, right? Perhaps he was disrespected. Perhaps he was taken for granted. So I don't know what was happening as far as the athletic department and all of that with Coach Prime, but I can imagine there are a lot of things that he's like, I'm not even going to speak on this. I'm just gone. But this is all conjecture. What we do know for a fact is that he is gone. I don't necessarily have an issue with him leaving. I do have an issue with the notion that in order to be successful, you must get white validation. You must work for a white corporation. You must have support from white people, right? And so what people are saying is that, look, Deion Sanders, he wants to coach in the NFL. He wasn't going to get that look if he was at Jackson State University. And I disagree. He is a walking media firestorm. He is so nice to the cameras. He is energetic. When he played football, he was the closest thing to Michael Jackson in shoulder pads that we have ever seen. And I mean, like, when you see him get that interception, it's like, oh my God, you scream and you yell like you're a child. He is the most magnetic person to ever play the game. That magnetic personality transfers over into his coaching ability. Wherever he goes, the media will follow. Whether they hate him or love him, they will follow him because he's primetime. They call him that for a reason. Neon Deion, they called him that for a reason. And I think that if he would have stayed at Jackson State, if he would have pushed that envelope, the professional scout, they wouldn't have had any choice but to look at him. Right? Because he would, if nothing else, he would bring money. He would bring butts into seats at any professional, for any NFL team. And we know that. So I disagree with that, right? And I think that that's very, very, very harmful. The way that we look at white people as our savior, and we equate our proximity to the white power structure with success and validation and an overall good life. I want to talk about the trickle down of that and how that reeks of self-hatred, basically. Because as you all know, or if you don't know, I work in the field of education. I profess English at a local college, and I give this assignment, guys. I teach about apartheid. I teach about apartheid, South Africa. I was there for several weeks earlier this year. And I talk about colonialism, and I ask my students to imagine a world in which colonialism never happened, right? And I want to share that prompt with you all. It's called Alternate Ideology, and it is imagine living in a world without the European conquest of foreign lands. Where do you live? What language do you speak? What religion do you practice? What does happiness mean to you? How do you dress? What are your expectations for yourself? What are other people's expectations of you? I want you to fully create this world in your head and describe it for your readers in 1 to 2 pages. Please make sure that the work is typed double-spaced and in MLA font. As my students begin to write, and you know what comes out, and this is not all of them by far, but a lot of them write down, I would probably live somewhere in a hut, no electricity, no, I would never ever leave my village because of, we wouldn't have the technological advances, we wouldn't have the social advances, we wouldn't have any of that, so I would be somewhere backwards in a rural place. So if white people would have never conquered wherever they are from, then there would have been no advancement, period. Because the idea of advancement, the idea of moving forward is totally looked at through the lens of, through the prism of our contact with white people. And if we would have never contacted white people, then we would have never moved forward. So I have to tell students, you know, people were traveling around the world before Christopher Columbus. You think that white people were the first folk to think, oh my God, let me leave here. Let's build a boat. Let me go overseas. But no, because we look at history through this Eurocentric lens. And it bothers me because it's say, okay, if I was not enslaved, if I was not colonized, if I was not forced to practice this religion and speak this language and wear these clothes, even though it's hella hot and I'm wearing a suit, right? If I wasn't forced to do this, I would be backwards. Thank God, white daddy. Thank you for saving me. This is what I see in my students, and it's deep. And so I have to speak against this, right? But I realize that, especially now with this Deion situation, that it is not just students, it is a wide array of people, right? And people that think that, I was getting to it with my homeboy on Facebook, and he said, nah, this is a good move for Deion because look in terms of hip hop, if Russell Simmons wouldn't have linked up with Def Jam, and Cash Money wouldn't have linked up with Universal, if the small record label would not have linked up with the white distributor, then hip hop as we know it would have never existed. We would never get exposed to it. Can we please hold people accountable for being exploitative? They need us. But to be grateful, to be a part of someone's plantation is disturbing as hell. And I resent that. And I argue against that mode of thinking, right? And so it is that I have a problem with. We have to invest in ourselves, even if it means making less money. I saw some things on Twitter, not on Twitter, because I'm not on Twitter, but I saw some things on social that made me think about this. Because at first I was just like, whatever, why are people hating, right? But I saw a few things and I want to share them with you all right now before I get on out of here. Deion leaving the SWAC restores order in the FBS. That's what integration does. It removes your leaders from your community and gives them a token spot in theirs. In turn, they end the movement and retain control. My goodness. I understand the sentiment. I think that Deion is going to take blackness wherever he goes. But once again, my argument is that I don't think that he had to leave. Me knowing what I know, not knowing what he faced behind the scenes, but I don't think he had to leave in order to get that good look. And there's another one I wanted to share with you all. We'll never recreate Black Wall Street. Why? Because Merrill Lynch is hiring. My God. Ooh-wee. Why would you work in the Black community if you can work in a white one? Why would you struggle in the ghetto if you could work in a cushy corporate job with guaranteed benefits? The comfort of white society is so tempting that most people cannot resist. So we shall see. We shall see with the prime time situation. And once again, he has the right to do whatever he wants to do, whatever he feels comfortable doing. Yeah, sure. People keep saying get the money, and I'm just like, he already had money, but whatever. More exposure, whatever works for him. But did he have to do that? I argue he did not have to do that. What do you say? Go ahead, drop it in the comments. I appreciate y'all for listening. And I'm gone. Peace, tribe. Got another one.